This is Gero for Umbra Games with a review of Yooka-Laylee, played on PlayStation 4, also available on Xbox One, PC, and allegedly, eventually, Nintendo Switch. To any Nintendo 64 or Rare fans, the name may provoke some images of the old Banjo-Kazooie franchise, and rightly so. Several former Rare developers formed their own studio, called Playtonic, fired up a Kickstarter, and worked to recreate the collect-a-thon 3D platformer genre. Their Kickstarter reached the initial goal in 38 minutes, and their final goal within 21 hours, which is pretty darn impressive. Yooka-Laylee puts you in control of the chameleon Yooka, and his cohort Laylee, a bat that hangs onto Yooka's head as they travel to different worlds collecting golden pages. Pages of a magic book that got sucked up in the giant book-sucking machine, developed under the orders of the villain mastermind, Capital B. Yooka and Laylee venture into Capital B's corporate headquarters, which serves as a hub world, where the pair find 5 giant books that serves as the game's levels. If you're familiar with the Nintendo 64 era and Banjo-Kazooie, you can definitely see the parallels. You start in a level hub that has many pathways to each of its different areas. These pathways often require a special move to navigate them, like a roll to go up slopes, or a glide to go longer distances. As you explore the hub, you find the world books. You have to acquire a specific number of pages to open each world, and then pay an additional number to expand that world and gather the rest of its content. You can face the final boss of the game once you retrieve 100 of the 145 available pages, which always works great for a natural difficulty curve in these type of games. It will take some skill to get a few of these pages, and if lesser skilled people will still want to play the game, they usually have the option of foregoing one activity that's too difficult or frustrating in lieu of others. Each of the game's worlds has 25 pages hidden within it. You gather these by discovery, solving puzzles, or conquering minigame type events. The hub itself also contains 20 hidden pages that are often out of reach until you acquire some of the game's special moves, forcing you to keep mental notes on where to go back. Collection comes in with 200 golden quills scattered around each world that, in addition to allowing you to purchase new moves with them from a shorts-wearing snake named Trouser, oh my god, I just got that. They also award a pagey for collecting all 200. There are 5 ghosts, which, sticking with the book theme, are called Ghost Riders, that must be found and captured in different ways. There are also life and power maximum increases hidden as well. There's a special item that allows you to use the transformation gun, providing changes to your character in each level that must be found. And those transformations are necessary to gather a subset of the pages there. There are also a set of tonics that can be equipped one at a time, and the requirements for unlocking them require the completion of various activities. Now with all that, Yooka-Laylee provides a great combination of collection and ability procedural progression. You begin the game with a very basic moveset, including jumping and a spin attack. Trouser, the aforementioned move salesman, offers a free move after going into each world that's helpful not only in the hub navigation, but also within the levels themselves. And it's fun seeing how each new enhancement adds in your powers both for combat and navigation. The duo has a life bar measured in butterflies, and a power bar that most moves consume. You can refill your life by eating butterflies, and refill your power by just running into them. Your power bar will refill on its own if no power has been consumed for something like 10 or 15 seconds. You can eat other things with Yooka's tongue, and one such ability is eating a seed, which grants ammunition for a limited time. Trying to aim the seeds in third person is quite a chore. You can switch to a first person mode, but you have to be sure you're at an absolute stop, click the left stick, aim and then fire. Doing this in combat on a battlefield of several enemies is pretty frustrating, as the move in and out of this mode is pretty sluggish. A lot of the basic enemies lack a little bit in diversity too, with your standard gremlin type creature appearing in every area with a different skin. Bosses make up for some of the slack with weak points and patterns you have to watch and discover. There was one giant looking goblin enemy guy that I saw in maybe 2 different places in the world too, and both times I just jumped over him and kept going, not missing a beat. The environments vary greatly from world to world, including a tribal jungle, a glacier, a toxic swamp, a casino, and a sort of pirate space-looking world. The look is so vibrant, from the bright green and purple of your avatar, to the enormous colorful temple and crystalline caves you explore. The level design is also very well done. In this modern world of quest markers and mini-maps, Playtonic is focused on exploration, looking for things out of place or new paths to access, sometimes showing you your end goal, but not how to get there. One of the tonics you can unlock will cause rare items to whistle when you're near them, but even then it's a game of hot and cold, not a blip on a map. The activities to gather pages are reused a bit from place to place, but there's enough variety that even 80 pages in, you'll most likely still find yourself enjoying the search and recover. There's platforming, time platforming, minecart tracks, arcade games, boss battles, races, and errands, as well as if collecting pages wasn't enough, you'll find a few here and there that are torn and require you to gather all the pieces. Playtonic was able to establish, though, that sense of wonder of high-quality titles like the original Banjo-Kazooie, and for that I applaud them. Some things never change, though. The biggest frustration during gameplay is the camera, which has always been true for this genre. I think it possibly gets worse than this with the more complex scripting tools available today. The camera seems to try and predict where you'll go in some cases, but with a modern third-person game, I often find myself constantly adjusting my own camera with the right stick, where Yooka-Laylee almost punishes you for that as you fight for control of it. There were a couple of areas this made gameplay extremely irritating. This one pipe you have to roll down, and a boss fight where you can't angle to see what he's doing due to the camera limits. When the camera is your toughest villain in a game, you're probably doing something wrong. I did just read, though, they do have patches that are in testing right now, providing a less assisted camera view option, as well as some updated minecart controls, which actually brings me to another topic for discussion. Each world has a minecart minigame where you have to collect a specific amount of points, collecting blue gems for 1, orange gems for 5, but you also lose points for running into barrels or enemies. It feels a lot like the Donkey Kong Country minecart stages, actually. They've added a few new mechanics in that you can dash forward quickly for a second, or slow down significantly, briefly, as well as shoot a cannonball. While this added some extra dimensions to the formula, the cooldown times for each action brought about some major frustration. Since this game does force you to 2D, it would have also been helpful to have the gamepad enabled at these points as opposed to the left stick to control it, as it's just a binary action. Button press just would have been more manageable. There are jumps that require you to fall off the ledge and then initiate a jump to grab some low-hanging jewels. I think it can just be summed up as feeling really inconsistent. One of these sections took me a significant amount of time to complete, and even had a boss fight at the end of it, which was a great idea, but frustration imbued. A couple of the arcade games could have benefited from the gamepad input as well. Speaking of those arcade games, you can engage in up to 4-player verses across 8 different ones, or play them solo should you choose. When you start your game, they mention you can turn on a second controller to access campaign co-op, but I couldn't get it to do anything except use a bee-looking cursor to absorb butterflies and release them at a later time. The game does suffer a bit from hitching at times, and my predisposition immediately assigns this to the Unity engine with which this game was constructed. And while sometimes it's easier to manage than others, it hit a few critical points in the game where that button timing and pattern watching was very important. One of the other traditions carried over from Rare games is the excessive use of puns. And I will admit, I love wordplay, so a lot of the sense of humor really worked for me. Also carried over from Banjo-Kazooie is the noise characters make when talking, as opposed to actual voice acting. You're gonna either find this annoying or not. Apparently in the upcoming patch, though, they have the option of smaller sample sizes and a way to reduce its overall volume, as well as a way to skip through dialogue more quickly. One of the final moves the duo obtains is the ability to truly fly, and the controls with the way the camera works makes this move all but accurate for situations that require precision. A patch for this was also in their release notes. Which all this, I guess, kind of illustrates the positive that Kickstarter can actually be amidst the failure we often perceive. You have a development team here listening to feedback and continuing to support this project post-release. Playing this game, it's easy to observe the team put their heart and soul into it, gathering up their previous experiences and materializing them into a game that fills the hole of a subgenre you may not have realized you missed. If you're one of those people that misses a Hub World Collection game, like if you're disappointed recent Mario games have been the Mario 3 style where you choose levels from a map, and need something to fill that craving until Super Mario Odyssey releases on Switch later in 2017, Yooka-Laylee could be a good substitute. With its bright graphics, diverse objectives, exploration drive, varying environments, sense of humor, and boss fights, although it could have used a bit more of the basic enemy variety, and really stands out. Only a bit tarnished by some camera issues and control inconsistencies, but the game is actively being patched for continued improvement. Rated as a 3D collection platformer, Yooka-Laylee sits at a 77 out of 100 on a true 1 to 100 scale. This is Gero for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching. Retro to faux retro, I work on covering it all. Feel free to subscribe for new video notifications or follow me on Twitter @UmbraGames.